I haven't finished my sewing job. Did you see what happens? Okay, the skin has been separated. Thanks, Ralph. Tie him up at the neck again so that the air doesn't come out. And then we're going to make a stretcher for him. And we're going to put him in a pot of boiling honey water. About 6 quarts of water. And, I don't know, 6 tablespoons of honey. And in he goes. And we're going to blanch him very, very quickly in honey water so that he is, the fat comes out of the skin and is replaced by honey. That's how you get that golden brown crunchiness on a Peking duck. See what's happening to his skin now? Look at him. Isn't he gorgeous? Oh, this is terrific. I don't know whether to name this rascal or what we should do with him, but roll him around there 5 or 6 times. And at the end of that time, we'll take him out. You can do that a little bit longer than I did, you understand. Keep that old bath towel handy. You're going to need it. And roll him on his back. And I'm going to tie underneath his wing. You didn't know what you were getting into today, did you, huh? I'm going to tie underneath his wing another piece of very narrowly cut fabric, you see, so that we can hang him up. We don't want to tear the skin or tear the duck at all, so just put a knot here behind him, underneath the wings. You see what I've done? What I'm doing is to tie the duck up like this. You understand? The cloth goes in behind him so that he doesn't rip the skin when he's hanging. Okay, now we can hang him up. He's probably going to leak out the bottom here a bit. No, he looks pretty good. Now hang him up to dry, just as I've done this other one, you see? There he is. One Peking duck. I have a plate underneath him. You turn on the old fan and let him dry for about 8 hours this way. 8 hours. And when he's done, the skin, you see, the skin is almost, it's almost crackly. And you take him down and put him on a baking pan. I'll show you. I have one in the oven here. Let's take a look at him. I don't know the name of this one either, but he's gorgeous. Where do I put all these towels today? There we are. All right, one duck ready to go. I'm going to shut the oven off. He's just finishing. Look at him. Look at him. How are you, friend? The skin is what you eat. Ouch, that's hot. We'll let him sit for a minute while I make some pancakes now. This is one of the most flamboyant, glorious dishes I know of in the whole world. He's been in there for about 1 hour and 20 minutes. He was about a 4.5-pound duck. You want to cook him at 425 degrees for the first half an hour. But the total cooking time, now pay attention, the total cooking time is 18 minutes per pound. So since this duck was about 4.5 pounds, we cooked him for 1 hour and 20 minutes. That is to say, 4.5 times 18, right? We get 1 hour and 20 minutes, but the first half hour of that time, we cooked him at 425. Then we turned him down to 350 and finished out the total time of 1 hour and 20 minutes. Don't overcook him, all right? And the skin should be crunchy and gorgeous. Now let's make some Peking pancakes. I'm going to use a cheater's method. And my cheater's method is, rather than roll my own, I'm going to go to the supermarket and buy some tortillas, wheat tortillas, and I'm going to brush them with sesame oil just on one side and slap a pair together. You got that? Just the bottom one is brushed with oil. Then you put another one on the top of the stack here and brush one with oil and put them together in pairs like this, you see. We'll do half a dozen this way. Very simple, very quick. And we'll pop them into a steamer. And my steamer is already roaring along here. And these will heat up in just nothing flat. Very, very quick. In units of 2. Pairs in your steamer. Pairs of pancakes. Whoops, I did something wrong here. Here he is. I tell you to do them in pairs and then I don't. There, now they're correct. See, the oil keeps them from sticking together and it also flavors them. Now, let me get rid of my kettle and we'll go on to some other dishes here. How's the old pan? It won't take long. Then we'll taste the duck, huh? I want to show you another flamboyant dish. Get my wok going. There's a dish in China of shrimp and gin, and it's very popular among the Peking peoples, though it was not what we call gin, but a very, very strong, strong wine. Very close to benzene, to tell you the truth. If you drink it straight, you know, we may never see you again. It's murderous stuff, but it's great. It's just great cooking. So I'm going to put on a wok. Remember the rule, get your wok hot before you put the oil in. Got it? The old Chinese rule is simple. Hot wok, cold oil, foods won't stick. Get the pan hot first, then put in the oil, and you're not going to burn the oil that way, see, because you throw the food in right away. Our normal method is to heat the frying pan up along with the oil, and by the time the pan hots, the oil's burned, everything sticks, and we think we're stupid. You're not stupid. Don't burn the oil. Hot wok, cold oil, foods won't stick. And by the way, if you're cooking on electricity, and you're using a wok, don't worry about it. It's perfectly all right. Simply leave your heat on absolutely high all the time and move the wok off and on the burner in order to control the heat. Don't try and turn the thermostat down because, you know, it goes so slow to cool and so slow to get hot. It's not like gas. So just leave the burner on full bore and control your heat by moving the wok off and on. Understand me? All right. Now, after that long tirade, my wok's hot enough. So I'll put in a little peanut oil. And I have some lovely shrimp with the shell on. They're just gorgeous things. I'm going to throw them in the old wok and let them cook very quickly. And our recipe is very, very simple. I want to add a bit of salt. Just put in a little bit. The salt's going to come off. Don't feel bad. That wasn't too much salt. It's all right. A little bit of salt. I'm going to put in a few green onions here. A couple will do. There we go. Just throw them right in. This is a marvelous dish from Peking. Come on, Pan. Keep cooking there. And we also want to add a bit of garlic. Remember how to clean your garlic in a hurry. Just a couple cloves of garlic and put the old cleaver on it. Give it a go. And we're into the pan. There. I want you to be frugal in your time as well as in your food products, right? And some ginger. And remember, ginger is just basic to Chinese cuisine. Comes in a big hand or fingers. Fresh ginger is available in most supermarkets in our time. Ooh, I just got some in my eye. That's terrific. Don't do that. Smells good, but it's tough on the old eye. There we are. I better toss these shrimp, huh? All right. And I'm going to add just a pinch of soy, of light soy. Remember now, I'm talking about light, meaning that it's not black. You see the color of this? It's a very light soy. It doesn't have a lot of mud in it, a lot of caramel coloring. Just a smidgen here. We'll toss our shrimp about. They'll change their color now. There we go. And while they're cooking, take just a minute. We haven't put the gin in yet, remember? While these are cooking, I think it's time to check out the old duck. Let's bring him from the oven. And I think everyone in the family should stand when he comes to the table. Name him if you wish. That's all right. I just oiled my rack. Did you notice? I just have him sitting right on the rack here. I just oiled the rack so he wouldn't stick viciously because I wanted him to have heat all the way around. And he stuck his arm underneath the rack and he doesn't want to come out. Maybe he's having a better time in there than I thought. Here he is. One Peking duck. $30 a plate, kiddo. You and I can afford to cook one of these ourselves. Now, let me wipe my hands off here and I'll show you how he's served. In the traditional restaurant, the duck is served thusly. A pancake is removed from the steamer, put on your plate, and the skin of the duck is sliced right off the top. That's the very best part, you see? And it's very, ouch, heavenly. You just take a bit off. Whew. In the old days, you know, the duck was taken back to the kitchen after this point and then was brought to you again in soup. Put a bit of the duck skin on the pancake and perhaps a little bit of green onion. I like some green onion. And a tiny smidgen of hoisin, of the hoisin sauce. It's called duck sauce. Of course, it is not a duck sauce itself, but it's commonly used on duck. There it is. You want to see how that goes? I do. You roll him up. Okay? You roll him up and he's ready now to be eaten. And I'll tell you what I think. I haven't had this for 2 years. Now, this is a new career for me, teaching you to cook and you're teaching me how to eat, you see. And there are times when I really feel frustrated that I can't say, come on, sit down, sit down, sit down. You've got to try this. It is heaven. It is absolutely rich. You see, the flavor of the duck is concentrated into the skin. And that's why the Peking cook, the Beijing cook, will work for days and days and days to come up with something so gorgeous. It's worth his time. Let me put this one out here for you. One Peking duck, Beijing duck. And don't forget the pancakes. That adds to the color and the flavor of the whole work. The shrimp are about ready here. Oh boy. Whoops. I saw one jump out. Did you see him? Lost him. Well, those are the breaks. Keep your pan on high. Remember, that's important to what's going on here. There we go. Now then, I want to add a bit of gin. Gin is a marvelous flavoring for this dish. I learned this from a fellow in San Francisco by the name of Johnny Can, who used to run, he's dead now, but he ran Johnny Can's restaurant in San Francisco. See, throw in a bit of gin and slam the old lid on. Toss it about, slam the lid on, and we have created for ourselves two marvelous, marvelous dishes. I have one more for you. You're going to wonder about all the alcohol I'm using today, but please remember that alcohol cooks out of the food. It's all right. It's all right, but in the old days in Peking, they did a lot of flamboyant things for the royalty. Of course, the lower class, you know, they ate the scraps. But look at this one. I have a strange one for you here. It's a drunk chicken. That's the truth. And I think he really is. I put him in a bit of broth, chicken broth, you see, and simmered him with a bit of ginger, green onion. Here he comes. Come on out of there, you rascal. Bit of ginger, green onion, chicken broth, and 2 cups of whiskey. That's why he's called drunk. And he's absolutely marvelous. Just superb. So we have 2 bird dishes for you today, and 1 shrimp dish coming out now, as we're attempting to celebrate a culture that we could probably say that the Chinese were the wisest at using what was at hand. But they were also the wisest in terms of making very, very complicated things. The style that we call Mandarin now, you remember, doesn't apply to any particular school in China. It applies to aristocratic cooking. But generally, it was hooked up with Peking. Let me get a fish bowl here. When you serve the shrimp dish, grab a fish bowl. In China, the fish was a symbol of great plenteousness. And this is a carp from the China Sea. And I've worn a carp around my neck here for, well, all the years I've been doing these shows. This is from my dear Chinese friend, Mrs. Young in San Francisco. It's a beautiful thing. 300-year-old piece of Chinese jade, and it's a carp. Why a carp? Isn't that a dumpy old fish? Listen, hundreds of years ago, thousands of years ago, the Chinese were the very first to put fish outside of the window in a tank so that when you threw the garbage out the window, it would land in the tank, the carp would eat it up, and then later on you would eat the carp, you see? They knew what they were doing, I promise. And the shrimp is done, and it goes into our fish dish, which is a sign of luxury and abundance, a big net full of fish, you see? And we can bring before our family 3 very expensive, very flamboyant, rather elaborate Chinese dishes, all from the city of Beijing, called Mandarin only because it was high class. I have for you a Beijing duck with pancakes. We have a drunk chicken, a beautiful dry, and he's terribly drunk, and some shrimp in gin and salt. That's it for Beijing and the Frugal Gourmet for today. This is Jeff Smith. I'm glad we could be together. Until I see you again, I bid you peace. Eat well. Bye-bye.